All right, I got all the parts in for this AC install. So let's go over here and I'll kind of show you where we're at. I had to order this from the Chrysler dealership. This is the foam gasket set that goes around your blower motor area and the area where the evaporator tubes come out. It is still available, but it's about to be discontinued, the guy told me. And this was like $70. A comparison, the original one, you see, came with this foam on it. And it also had these little spacers. Now these little spacers, not spacers, these little tabs here, what the purpose of them is to hold like a piece of screen, almost like you have like a screen door or window. And it held a piece of screen on there, so when the condensation came to the screen, it'd drip off. You can only see the little remnants of that screen left. You see what that is right there? That's just a little remnants of it, and I'm not sure I'm even going to use those. I don't think I need to, but as you see on the original one, these fins did not come all the way to the edge, whereas on the new one, the fins come all the way to the edge. So I don't think we need those. But I am going to make myself some of this weather stripping. You can't buy that anymore, but it looks pretty simple. So I got some of this waterproof weather stripping from Lowe's, and we're going to make that. As you can see, all I did was use some of this weather stripping here that I got from Lowe's to recreate what it had. And all that is kind of a bumper to keep that thing from rattling and moving around. So this should work just fine. You got to clean all this gasket stuff off. A good tool to get that off with are these rubber wheels. They work really well. So. All right, in this box, it had this little foam insert that sat below the evaporator. I'm not sure if I'm going to put that back in. This thing's deteriorated. The last thing I want to do is pieces to block that up. I think I'm just going to leave this out and put a piece of foam in there to kind of prop it up. I think this was to keep the bottom from sweating, maybe. I really don't know, but doesn't seem like it's going to work. I've seen a few videos, and I've never seen that in one of these boxes. Maybe they've all got deteriorated, but this goes in the bottom like this, and your evaporator sits on top of it. But what I've decided to do is not use that, because that's just going to fall apart even more. I put a couple of pieces of this waterproof foam right here, so when I set the evaporator down, it's not going to vibrate around. And I also recreated the original factory bumpers again with that Lowe's. As you can see, that's the weather strip in right here. I guess that's so when this cap goes on top of it, and my little spacer back there keeps it from rattling, because if it rattles in here, it's going to rattle in the Jeep, and that would be it. Now the heater core, the interesting thing about the heater core is the original one is copper, and I can't find any copper ones. I think I found one original Mopar one, and it's like $400, so I'm not doing that. But the aluminum one will be okay as long as we keep the fluids changed and flushed. So anyhow, another thing is that the original one had this foam weather stripping. This does not. So we are going to put the foam weather stripping on there. Hopefully it'll fit. You know, I think the reason why that foam weather stripping might be on there is to keep it from rattling also. I don't know, but I'm going to try it. All right. This Rock Auto heater core, these are bent wrong. Look at the angle on this one, and look at the angle on that one. So if you go to take this one, the original one, and put it in, as you see, fits nice, comes right out. This is always a pain dealing with these aftermarket parts. But if you take this aftermarket one and put in, it won't fit. It's not even shaped right. And I sure don't want to bend these and cause a heater core leak. So, oh my God, I got to get this done this weekend, so I may have to resort to an expensive AutoZone one if they even have one. not, I'm tempted to put this original one back in. It did not leak. So, This one from Rock Auto did not fit. I decided not to use that one. That is this one. These pipes are not bent correctly. I did go to O'Reilly's. They had it, and this is the model number that they had, and it fit perfectly. It even came with the little foam stuff, which the Rock Auto one did not. Now, AutoZone actually sells this exact same one, but they did not have it. But and it was actually cheaper, but I couldn't wait for it to come in because I wanted to get this done this weekend, so I paid about $10 more. But anyhow, this is the configuration of this blend door here that a lot of people have an issue with that. So make sure that little protrusion that sticks out goes toward the bottom. Goes in just like this. You see it rotates like this. And this little piece right here, the little tabs on the top, it basically fits like that. And you can tell you have it right because you've got your little curve right there. And it moves just a little bit. And you got to put that in before you put the heater core. I decided to go ahead and use this foam cradle. You don't see a lot talked about online about this, but I did some reading last night, and what this thing does is it sits in the bottom. I was just going to line it with foam, but what actually this does is that when you put the evaporator in it, it keeps air from going under and around it and forces the air through the evaporator to get maximum cooling. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I'm going to get rid of all the destroyed part so it can drain out, but I'm going to use this piece right here, and I'm going to silicone it down so it don't move around, and hopefully it'll serve the same purpose. I did clean it with bleach and water to kill all the nasty mold. All right, this is what it looks like installed. You notice that little cradle I was telling you about. I put a little piece of weather stripping right here because that part had to be cut out, and I don't want the air to go underneath the evaporator. I want it to go through the evaporator. So that's stuck down with some silicone. That should take care of it. I put a couple of little dabs of silicone there, so when we put this over it, it'll seal nice. And blend doors are all in. And when you put your top on, you got to be real careful that this blend door is in the top. So I'm going to show you how we can check that. All right, it's all cleaned up. Don't forget to put the blower motor little ring thing back. You've got to have this on. Make sure all of your foam is intact. And make sure that your blend door plastic pieces are in the correct area. Now we can put the top on. Once you get that box together, make sure that your blend door works. You can use this little piece, because if not, if it's binding, then you're going to be really upset camper when you put it in. And also make sure that all your seams are lining up here all the way around. Make sure one of the things that is not on a few other videos is anybody replacing these gaskets. I'm going to replace those, so make sure you clean all that up. All right, you see, I'm doing this with one hand. It's hard to show, but that I'm looking at the blend door in its actual position, so it is correct. As I stated earlier in the video, I have not seen anyone on any of the videos replace this. This is the part number for the gaskets. You get 3. It's the gasket right here. Now, to take this apart, you have to cut it in half. I'm going to finish cleaning this up. So it's the gasket right here, it's the gasket right here, and it's the gasket right here, and this is your drain tube for your evaporator. Basically, it's all the gaskets where everything touches the firewall. It's expensive, it's 70 bucks. And there was none in my state, so the dealer had to order it out of state. I did order one from Moore's 4x4, and it was not going to come in time, so I went ahead and got this from the dealer, paid $10 more, but I'm going to keep that one in case I have to do it in other XJ, because I think these are about to be discontinued. I don't know if you can hear that, but you hear that hissing? That's what you want to hear, because that means this was pressurized from the factory and it does not leak. So I think it was pressurized because I feel air coming out, or either air going in. But anyway, So I have to take these off in order to put this seal on it, but that is from the factory, so you know it doesn't leak when it comes out. I got all the gaskets on. I do recommend changing those if you can. I mean, it's 70 bucks, but you know, those other ones were just so brittle and destroyed. These are nice and thick and have I feel comfortable they're not going to leak in the firewall. Now, a lot of people, and I've got a video on this, on fixing the cowl leak, but because the air box in the cowl, you can see it now, the air box in the cowl, you can get to it now, it's right there, and that leaks quite a bit. This seal is no longer available, so now's a good time to seal that up. But a lot of times this leaks here where the where this meets the firewall for the blower motor, so recommend doing that. Okay, so a couple of notes after you put the blower motor in. This is a point of water entry, so put a little silicone right there, a little silicone right there where that wire goes behind this gasket. And what I'm going to do is I got these little felt tips. These little things are made to keep the thing from rattling against the firewall, and they are very chinchy and wore out. So I'm going to make me some out of this. I'm going to drill a hole, or I might use a soldering iron and burn through it. I think that's what I'll do because it works a little better. And then I'm going to use those. Work really well. As you can see, lots of cushion. Man, they're very heavy duty. This is the old ones. Ain't worth a flip anymore. And what I did was I took this soldering iron and heated it up and basically just held it. You go over here and you just keep doing a circle and it will open that up. I tried drilling it, but it just catches. So the soldering iron is by far the best way to do it. Plus it melts all that inside so it doesn't move around. A couple of quick notes. Keep these covered while you're installing it so no debris goes in your evaporator or your heater core. Don't forget to run your little vacuum line back through here, and it gets routed here. You don't want these things kinking. Make sure all your vacuum lines are out of the way. I need to make sure this is down up in here, and all your bolts and screws are tightened. Make sure all this stuff's out of the way when you go to put it in so it doesn't bind on anything. As you can see, this is from a factory shoddy job. I don't know if I'm going to try to fix that. I may put a little piece of foam right there, but unfortunately they don't sell these, but these are in decent shape. You can spray a little silicone on it and try to revitalize them, which I'm going to do like this. You know, you can kind of spray some silicone on it and it will revitalize them, keep them maybe from cracking up. Now this will be the only time you'll ever get to be able to get up in there and silicone that little thing in, which I've already done. Good time to clean all your connectors with contact cleaner. Okay, I put the box in. Actually, it went in quite easy. My best advice is to make sure that all your wires are tied out of the way before you bring it in. And really, it went in there just in a matter of a few minutes. And you always want to come in here to make sure that everything lined up, which it did. You know, your little studs that are coming out of here. Of course, your evaporator and heater and everything else. So I don't think I'm going to film tightening all that up. That's kind of boring, but I'll let you know when I get toward this one. Again, this is not a how-to video. There's a guy on YouTube, IDAXJ Simple Overlander, that has a really good detailed video. I'll leave a link to that. But anyway, you've got 10 millimeter bolts and nuts along the top, and you've got a 13 millimeter down here in the corner and one over there in the corner, and then it just pops back. It's really not that hard.